continue. So last time upon we read about the principles of programming languages, where we learn to know that any programming language which one we use is easy to learn, easy to code, and flexible, like the platform independent options that might be where any system you use, there the problem is solved. So where we use any programming language, our thought is clear. Our language must be in easy to understand level, easy to code, easy to compile on any machine, so that what we measures the all the implementation part when any program we construct. So the way, the simplicity, any kind of thing you want in your language, so it also be included in that part. So all about the principles, all about the logics when we use in our languages, so might be different, but in the machine type environment, where computer system only instruct, only understand the code 0101, so that we need a very understandable way where we our thought just put in on that, and that logic might be a good part, a best way to instruct a machine. So the principles, just steps, just the procedure, like English languages is their grammar. When we write a code for we want to go home, so we use many things in a line, in a word, so that meanings that we are going, or there is a another part which we read in our principles, any rules, any part that suggests us better implementation of that system. So last session all about syntax, semantic, and what we choose, what we understand when we finalize any programming languages, so that we must need to know that languages are clear, that are friendly, that are readable, that are flexible, so that they put an environment that use in whole part of that consumer. Never it is a, like one person, two-person, there are many person, there are many generations. Like C programming language is invented in 1972, still it is major implementation of device driver like software. So our language must be like any language that good in today and tomorrow also. So today we also think about their languages, their language paradigm, how efficient and how regularly they will follow. So we start now. I hope all you are joined and my voice is clear. Screen is visible. If any problem, you can share with me. Okay, okay, no problem. So this session, when complete, we just think about them prior the session, but after this session we know the paradigm, they process, how any programming language we choose, we want, we build, is has some type of differences. Their differences like the procedure, their differences is like functional. So any code we written in that language, that programming languages, there are some difference. Their difference describe this language paradigm in a simplest way. Type of them, where we use this type of paradigm, and where to use which type of this paradigm, so that we need to know all about the procedures, all about the steps, approaches that might be used in our principles, that might be used in our incoming projects. So paradigm part is solid part which build a understandable way of that languages. Here we know talk about any languages. No, we don't tell any languages. C, C++, that are languages. But we thought about principles. Decide any languages might be take in their code. And what is the efficiency? Efficiency mean how productive, how small, how frequent, how durable that language might be, how regular, how we perform any task when just use that language, and in our task is just complete, no other plugins, no other helping hands are required for them. So we follow all these paradigm. After learning this objective part of paradigm, we learn the students, about the explain the concept of language paradigm, list different type of languages paradigm, describe efficiency and influencer of efficiency. You every day you want to or more efficient. No, in we also in our daily life we want ourselves a efficient man, other type, not just you are just ideal, you keep putting yourself a better way that is more efficient in work, in personal life, in any work you need to work in future, in tomorrow. So you prepare for that, you want that work is more uh, easily mannered, you can handle. So we learn on all these steps or these part to stability for our concern part of how the principle of a programming language does explain regularity and in. So all code base the regularities are following by the any principle of programming language we will learn on this session. So start. So by definition, I also said कि a process, a programming paradigm is a style, a way, a difference between any two person. Like we have a two friend, and we have some other friend. There are different part. They are their languages must be different. Their way of talking there might be different. So that differences describe the way any programming language does for their programming, their uh, software building. So a style or a way of programming is called a programming paradigm. It's also a different definition of that, a way in which we can face a programming problem. So the line specify describe that a way is guide part of your journey, guide part of your step which you take in your life in any software processes. I will take the chat session after the session, so no problem, you can put your problems, your messages on chat box. I will read it and deliver after this session. Obviously, there can be multiple style and there are multiple programming paradigm. Multiple programming paradigm means there are multiple languages where we use this kind of principles. Paradigm are not meant to be mutually exclusive. A single program can feature multiple paradigm. It is not just we read only one paradigm. No, we have many paradigm in just a small part of program. So there is no boundaries, only one paradigm you can follow in your code. There are open spaces for the using the paradigm. Generally, programming languages are built to support one or more programming paradigm. So already I said that there is no closing boundaries for this specification. You only use one paradigm. No, you can take any problem with any specific way. I have multiple problem, I have a problem to count n numbers, so I can write a code in many manners, many paradigm. That manners, that style uniquely identified by you, but you use that part so called paradigm. For example, Smalltalk has direct support for programming in the object-oriented way. This object-oriented way is said a paradigm of, and may be called a object-oriented language. LISP, this is also a language, and JavaScript, they describe the past functions around heavily. So the working of JavaScript, LISP, these languages use function heavy functions. So that are called functional languages. So those languages, the functional paradigm that are called functional languages, those languages are follow object oriented concept, object oriented paradigm, that are object oriented language, and very few languages implement a specific paradigm 100%. When they do, they are pure. It is incredibly rare to have a pure OOP, object oriented programming language, or a pure functional languages. So this sentence tell us no one can take 100% of any paradigm, any specific paradigm. If they take in their website, so that website, that part of software is 100% pure software. So but we took any other step, any other paradigm, because we need a simplest way, we need a easy way, we can complete that kind of problem in very minimum step, minimum kind of memory space, minimum time. So all that thing matter as priority. But if we can take any paradigm of any languages, any processor, we use functional. So in whole program, in whole software part, when we write that project, we follow only one kind of style, that put it our website. Generally, 5 brand paradigm are defined. So there are 5 broad where we talk about which paradigm we follow. So simplest way, we define 5 type of there: imperative paradigm, procedure paradigm, functional paradigm, declarative paradigm, object oriented paradigm. So all I already tell you, this is just a step, just a style, so that we can process a thought, process a problem in a simple manner. There are 5 way we make our code in simplest way and put our procedure in any these paradigms. So we read one by one. There are examples. Please read that examples. I will talk about that, which is and what is they are trying to say. There are examples: pure water into a bowl. So this is the the very word imperative. Imperative mean that a programmer is dictating to the computer what to do exactly and in a specific way. There are simple answer. We just putting the imperative way, that is a specified way. Like we follow to cross a roadside by the rule governed by government, and we just take just right, just left, and move on. So that kind of style, that kind of specific way we follow, in that manner, with our thought is just crossing a road. But when we use that type of paradigm, imperative paradigm, just focus how to do this problem, how to do, we decide that and follow that. That is imperative means. The focus is always on how to do. Always just we have a problem, we just know and just working on that. How can we complete this problem in a into a solution? And very easy, direct way. There is a specific way. All type of paradigm just describe how to, but there are mechanism, there are process, there are differences, are some kind of specialty, technical specification. Like uh, just imperative, just write the steps, just you put your kind of thought in working manner, just program procedure is called paradigm, kind of imperative. There are many examples. Here the sequencing of steps in a very important. We choose here step and step in sequences. No, there is first you cross the road and then you check right and left. No, firstly you check right and left, then you cross, then you move on. Example, we were to simulate making of coffee, following will be the steps. So there are a coffee uh, making example, how we prepare a coffee. So pour water into a bowl, we take some water in our bowl, light the stove and place the bowl on the stove so we can heat the water, place coffee powder into a filter and strainer, pure near boiling water. There are the steps. These steps just define that the imperative way is a simple specific way which can follow the easy times and complete the problem, then solve the problem. Second type of paradigm is procedural. Last one is imperative, and here now procedural. Procedural mean just you broke the step. We lastly use the sequence of steps, and where you use when use these steps in their procedural paradigm is a variant of imperative paradigm. There is no much differences in imperative and procedural, but here we can add procedures, subroutines. Subroutines mean after that we follow that, after that I sing, go on that, I do that, I do that. We also add a small part, small description, small content for that problem. Here we had a number, so we also describe kind of number, is positive, is negative, then which type of positive. So where deeply concerning a process, so that steps known as procedural paradigm. In procedural paradigm, the user look at the whole program, just look at the whole program as a collection of procedure or subroutine, each doing a specific task. So there is a problem. We want to put some text on our website. So we just take your program problem and how. So we want to write some text on our website, we use some kind of processor, one for our documentation part, one for our designing part. So our program just put breakdown in some step, that called as a processor, that called a subroutines. This is good way of improving modularity and organization. When we want change, just put that another subroutine part on that and we can work on that. So there is no problem. So there are process, there are when we complete our problem in step by step manner, but some step grouping just called a procedure, some step of sequencing a procedure, just put them all together and we can it is do after that. So when you don't put that part on the first, so you follow the sequence but in a grouping manner. Group matlab same kind of code are executable on that time. So here the procedure, we make a function. Procedure follow by first preparing, then just preparing coffee. So there's some part defining below, there's some part is defining on upper. The third one is functional paradigm. We learn imperative, we learn procedural, now we on functional. I always say there are no such differences, but that word is mean in a kind of manner that we can put our all smallest effort to make a good programming languages. So we need to know every differences. Just say simple differences can make a good broad approach so that we learn all that functional part. Just we first take this example code. Here is example. Where is marker? I use just 1 second. Is there any problem? I'm audible? Screen is visible? Okay, okay. Maybe some technical. Okay, okay. You all got the point detailing about. There is no such differences in that processors, that functional, all about the step-by-step approach. We just define the paradigm. Paradigm is nothing but about, but it is a whole step, whole concern about thinking of our constructing a kind of software which follow some steps, some sequence. That sequence are collaborated and make a sense and called as paradigm. And the type of paradigm we read imperative, procedural, functional, no much such differences. But first imperative, just we thought a plan and we break in steps and we follow that sequence. Though that kind of process, yeah, that kind of paradigm is called imperative paradigm. Then second, paradigm is nothing but about any kind of definition you think it is a big word. No, no. It's just a logical word. When we put our approach to solve a problem, we have a problem to think there are any number in below the thousand, and which number is also another location. There are two different number, but one is known and one other is not known. So we just get some answer from users, some random numbers, and we create a logic complex situation. So when we process that kind of thought, so there is no paradigm, there is no thought behind that. So any step processor, any thought, any approach which have no conclusion, no simple step by step approaches to solve, so these are the logical part, but we construct that logical part in a kind of language, in a kind of text like languages, so that can be solved by the machine, by the computer. So we learn the paradigm part, step by step approach to solve that problem, and we already learned the imperative way, the procedural way. Now we start from functional paradigm. In a functional paradigm, functions can be assigned to variable. Now, you also, there is a variable num. Which one? Num. Num means numbers. Numbers are 1, 4, 3. We are assigning. There is meaning of that. Assign meaning that we are putting that value in that number. And that number is vary. We can change this number after another part, and we use another number, number 2, number 3 here, and we can options our the number changing. So that part is called, this is constant. Constant is a keyword. Keyword means we make some word fixed to that machine, that never use in any code easily, that are fixed, that are functions. Constant means the number use this value are fixed now, it not changeable. So we put that part, num part, as a constant. When we put here int means it is integer, but here is number of combinations, so this is a array. So in functional paradigm, functions can be assigned to variables. Past means the values to assign them is called a passing value. We are passing value to number. We are passing any number here. Number just we are putting using this just number, but this number is justified by this kind of numbers group. So we just reference, we just assign, and when will we use that type of num, we just put that num. I means that numbers, arguments, and returns from other another function. Means after that compilation, after that part solved, and we get result. Means it returns some value. A pure function always generates the same result given the same input. It's not all about, okay, we put 2 plus 2 and we get answers 7. No, when we put the input in prescribed format, we get result in prescribed format. No, there is no latches in computer. We instructed computer, you can solve that problem in that way. So computer not mixing any other things to that 2 plus 2. It's always produce output. When we process a follow good programming languages, so also the result is good. It produces no change outside the function environment or side effect. I already tell. Functional paradigm thus encourages modularity and absence of side effect of enhanced code mentality. So here functions means the processor part. We learned processor is kind of grouping of steps, but there is a one group define some specified work. There are not just only defining the value of any constant, any variable. No, there are many function, many sub functions, many other variables. There are bulk of program and inherited in a just putting that code in one form, one function. Here we use function name, function filter num. Though there is a name of function, function filter nums, and function filter nums solve constant result. There are a loop that control structure for I equal to 0. If that problem is might compile many times, what the result? We don't write code in 5 times. We just take a for loop. So they define a just code. It is only function filter num and written in once, only once. When you use this part, any other kind of working problems, any kind of that part of program, you just put filter number. Okay, so this, okay, this usable, reusable, this reusable means this is modularity. If we want change in this function and we use other line, other code of line, so that functioning is not different from this functioning. It's all about that are simple, that are similar, that working is here is also working is here. So just use filter number. The filter nums is here a function. We can use that function in many part of that program, and we not need this code every time. We just put filter num. We just start this code in another line of code. We just put filter num. So the filter num is already have some code in previous program. So we, the functional paradigm define the step to follow in a functional form, in a function, in a kind of working environment. They just put their definition in front, and after anytime reusability, more program heavy you turn, you use that function there, just the function do in prior already started doing there. Functional paradigm. Okay, okay. The fourth type of paradigm is declarative. Declarative paradigm tell the computer on what result are needed, then the how of it. Control flow in declarative programming is implicit. Select upper name from people. Here are the example where length name equal and greater than 5, order by name. So declarative, just declare the sentence. Just declare the line. We want this. So follow this. We want this. So firstly, we tell the computer we want that, and we need to get that a process, and just write on that. Here we want a name from the people, and the length of that name. My name is Ajay. So it's not greater than 5. Here we want to list out any code and find the name are greater than 5. Their name length is from greater than 5. So order by name is defining any name we are displaying on their result. They are in alphabetical manner. So this is just a relative, just a declarative format of process, step by step approach. So we learn that four type of paradigm. Side effects mean just it's not about just creating problem. No, there is no problem from that. Side effect means there when we use these, so your program knows affect from that. It is easy usable. There is no problem occurring after that use. So there is no side effect from the paradigm you can follow on your principle of programming languages. So there is no any situation might be occur about that usage, that declarative format uses, that processor formation of your language, your processor of your program. Last one is object oriented. This is most usable. Here we talk about this session, this Zoom session, this class. So there are 61 people in this meeting, and we just create a room, just create a classroom, and all 61 are putting on this platform. Also, you can describe a class name BCA 101. BCA 101 is a course name, and here are the many student enrolled and enroll that case, that class. So when we use just object as a student and class for your BCA 101, so you not need many processes same for the 50 people you are in that class. No, there is a same, there is a same kind of object oriented approach to follow this kind of programming. And object, when we put in class, it's all about object oriented. Is it defined as a paradigm, not a specific languages built on the concept of object. Example, a set of data content in field. I already defined a set of data. You are the BCA 10 classroom student, so your data defined as a object, ajay dot bca 1023, Atul dot BCA3 103. So they differences. You just put their name with the object. So it's make not more code to write to define that object. You just create a class of that object. You include that object on that class, apply, and your result is simple. When you use functional, you create a function for any object, yeah, or any process, any step you follow for writing the procedure. So there is function part, one is a processor part, one is simple declarative format, and the last one is object oriented approach. We just, when we need to write a thought, write a problem, when we just finding in that problem the object, which one is object, which one around the problem is occur, when we can assemble them as a class. So this process is called as object oriented paradigm. Each entity, there are fields. So I already tell you, fields are the input part, object part. Student part of that class is called field. And when we describe them as a subject wise, some of reading in that online class C programming, some of learn Python programming. So we have a one BCA 103, but we put them as a class, and there are object defined. There are some function they define their differences for their courses, their program, their uh, address, their locations. So we just create a object and we use their object similar data type. We want name, father's name, mother's name, their date of birth. So we just create a object and put that object part in that program. Each entity groups are a given set of information. Already what I tell. And action method that can be performed by the entity. Entity is object. Object oriented programming makes use of classes. I already tell you, use of classes, differentiate them as a object oriented that are created from a class are called called instances. Object, when we create just class, just we define any university like Vizu University define some courses, BTech and AI, so that university is a whole class. In that class we have a some programs, BTech, MTech, MBA, BBA. These are the programs, and these programs have some subject code that are the program object. The university have their object as a programs. So the difference of their channelizing, their step by step approach to follow these courses. Firstly you enter your Viju campus, then you enter your Zoom classes, then you interact with your faculty member. So these processes, but we use as object. When just create an object, just thought about a object, it's called a, it just create, it's called instance. Program efficiency. Now we done the paradigm part. Oh, I already defined the five term type of paradigm. First one imperative, second one procedural, third one functional, declarative, and object oriented. So these the five way to solve that problem in step by step manner. And there are much usage of languages like C language is used for just processor language. He follow these language follow processor part. But your C++, your OP object oriented, that approach the object oriented paradigm. So there are differences on that. Any language follow two or parts. In these days all the programming languages are follow all the type of paradigm. There is no boundaries, they follow each and every part of that. Now we learn about efficiency in programming languages. Programming efficiency or code efficiency. When we thought about program, so program nothing, just a code, just a line of code is a term which is used to depict the reliability, the speed, resource consumption in programming methodology used to develop the program. So programming efficiency, we just in simple way, the output, the best output we can get, the way they define efficiency. Every programming language do the programming part to solving a problem, but there are differences. Some programming language uses rigid type of functionality, rigid type of the difficulty is not the easily understandable, so their efficiency to use is also less. So we develop a program which write in that language, that efficiency is very better. It is directly related to the algorithm. Algorithmic matlab means the related efficiency. Oh, I already tell, I'm not sure, but in any languages, just program is not a, 1 second. So efficiency define the we take the step by step approach, and the step by step approach in any programming languages we learn that type of paradigm. That paradigm also called a algorithm. When we solve our problem in our language, our problem in our step by step approach, that called a step by step approach to solve a program in English language manner. We just start a code, we just step one, we start that code. I will, but the UGCC guideline and most of the student and some their rule and regulations follow me to instruct the only English in class. We will discuss after class in short discussion in Hindi also. So no problem. I will tell all that in Hindi also. Efficiency plays a major role in ensuring high performance. I already defined high performance mean efficiency, the output oriented approach. Best way to get that approach is called efficiency ensuring. Efficiency is also measured on computing resources consumption and completion time as much as possible within minimum risk of the business or operating environment. If anyone want that kind of project, you code, so that project also secure, also deploy in a efficient manner, that not when we start that project, that software in any customer, and customer have problem, their business data is wipe out, some problem creating on that systems. So no, we use any program algorithm that might save, since roughly 90% of time is spent on debugging and maintaining programs. So likewise, every programmer write the code, but there are many error on that. They just not as read, as instructed, easy to that computer. So there are some problems, some code errors, some syntax error. So the maintain part is also difficult to factor that affect the efficiency. Which factor are disturb memory cache size. Memory cache size needed to hold the code and input the output. Any code we write, code mean we have a some uses memory part. You thought any kind of approach, that thought when we write on notebook, that notebook space also use. So the space in computer memory form is called some sort of some small memory that used to write that code, that used for inputting part, that used for output. So their factor, if your input part is slow, where your memory is slow, like we just open a application and they're taking application so long, it's taking 5 minutes to open, so it is latching, or that is problem occurred through the RAM. You know the memory, you know the RAM, you know the computer system. Computer system have some memory part. That process complete on that memory part, and we get output. Output result also by saved memory. Speed use of computer time in executing the program, programmer efforts. It's also all but of programming efforts. Scalability mean the program you use is not just have problem with your system in another system, if that application is not suitable in some kind of internet network, so the scalability is also be there. Typically, it involves a balance between the time and space, also known as the time and space complexity. I already said every program has their time complexity and space complexity. Space means they require some space, and every application we build a software. We want a WhatsApp application. When you go to Google Play Store, you just download it because it has less memory, it's required less memory. If your WhatsApp application is 1.5 GB, you not need to download. You just think about that. My mobile phone memory is not so more, but We need that software. So if you build a software, it's takes less memory, less time to compute, less time to solve that problem, less space, less operating part. Just we click on that, the operational part of that application is start, not taking some time. Example of programming language that are known for their efficiency, the best efficiency is C++, Rust, and Go. Regularity, the last point maybe we learned this session. Regularity, regularity refers to how well the features of a language, the features of that language is created, yeah, integrated. Integrated means when we combine a language, we make a compiler for that language, but we don't integrate that part, you know, but you don't include in your software. So that lacking of integration, it might affect your efficiency of that software. Regularity means you take all well features, the most features. When we start our computer system, we just click on power button. If power button is not working, is if power button is taking you first some other kind of software reading, you just tick on that. After that it take another part, user login part. But user login part is not just when you put your password. No, there are some coding, there are some steps to follow. So these integration not needed, but we define that in a easiest way, so that the system regulate easily. Fewer restriction on the use of particular construct. Minimum foundations you take on your programming. You when you put your programming with many kind of strong rules, you can take machine independent, so your code only run on your machine. If we use case sensitive part, so you can only take uh, in case sensitive way, like you use only small letter, you can use only capital letter, you not start your program, your code, your text with number. So these boundaries, these strange boundaries, these restrictions called problem, create problem on that. Fewer surprises in general in the way of languaging features behave. So the how when you put that features on it, it's perform well, but you put them in wrong way, in wrong type of instruction, so that they don't perform well. A set of object is said to be regular with respect to some condition if and only if the condition is applicable to each element of that set. Means if all conditions are true, but your system is not replying yes, all things are going up to date, up to time, but your output is not generating as per your requirement. So always your object, your documentation part, your coding part must be in a defined way, in a regular way. Lower regularity affect the readability, maintainability, and scalability. So if your regularity means you don't follow that kind of feature, that kind of processes, not in manner, good manner, so that you can't objection on that. So firstly you have that regulation part on your principles, your programming. Example of programming languages that prioritize regularity: Python and Ruby. These languages follow strictly regularity. Means all processor, all functions, all type of sequencing, all type of steps, all type of restrictions are just fewer over there. These languages are not just you write a more code to follow these kind of function to define, but just only simple mean use in Python, and your problem is your procedure have a line of code, but there in Python you just put a text type keyword and that follow all type of procedure. So it's about that regularities languages. Now we complete the understanding the paradigm part of any languages, I will give you chance. Firstly, we can take in short brief. These paradigm are five types. We learn imperative, we learn procedural, we learn declarative, we learn functional, and last one is object oriented. After that, these paradigm follow some kind of systematic approach to get better result, and that part called as efficiency, system efficiency, program efficiency, working efficiency. Efficiency means your result is faster, is taking fewer time, is taking less space. Okay. And then regularity, all these performing tasks are completed in regular manner, no today, no tomorrow, in just putting all restrictions, but in a kind of manner that the coding part taking less time to produce a good result. Okay. One by one I will allow you for any doubt. So Jai, I will invite you. 1 second.
या
Okay.
सर, मेरी आवाज इको
यस
एक
जाहिर आ रही है, बताइए।
एक मिनट।
इको हो रहा है आपके पास में मोबाइल में, और अपने पीसी में कहाँ ऑपरेट कर रहे हो आप?
नाउ आई एम ऑडिबल।
हाँ यस जाहिर, कंटिन्यू।
ओके। सर एक्चुअली मैं ये जानना चाहता हूँ कि पहली बात तो जैसे हमने जब एडमिशन लिया उस टाइम पे तो हमें ये कहा गया था कि आपको समझाया जाएगा और आपको तरीके से मतलब वो चीजें बताई जाएंगी।
गिव मी सम टाइम। ओके।
आपको
आई विल this is discussion part. I will brief discussion in Hindi also here, so no problem. Now we take this session in Hindi.
ओके
Okay.
तो सर एक्चुअल में क्या है कि थोड़ा सा हिंदी अभी क्या है हमारा स्टार्टिंग है। तो इस टाइम पे अगर हमें थोड़ा सा अगर ब्रीफली भी आप हमें हिंदी में बता देंगे ना तो उससे ये होगा कि
जैसे
हम थोड़ा थोड़ा समझने
बत,
लग जाएंगे ना
अब
उसके बाद।
बताने दीजिए ना, मैंने इसलिए 5 मिनट पहले थोड़ा फ्री किया है। ओके, 5 मिनट आगे तक लेके जाएंगे। सो
ठीक है सर।
दिस पार्ट ओके, किसी की क्वेरी है तो अपन में सिंपलेस्ट जिनकी हिंदी
नहीं
लैंग्वेज की
बस।
प्रॉब्लम है, सो मैं डिफाइनिंग हियर। अपन
ओके
कोई भी प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज, अपन यहाँ पे क्या सीख रहे हैं कि अपन को कोई प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेजेस क्या बनानी है। अपन बनाने के लिए आगे प्रोसेस करना चाहते हैं कि अपन को कोई प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज बनानी है जो बाकी लोगों की हेल्प करे टू सॉल्व प्रॉब्लम्स। प्रॉब्लम्स मींस जो ह्यूमन प्रॉब्लम है वो जस्ट वी कैन डील विद देम, बट सम लॉजिकल पार्ट वी वांट सम कॉम्प्लेक्स सॉल्यूशंस इन ए गुड मैनर दैट मशीन कैन डू। कंप्यूटर वो काम कर सकता है, सो अपन उसको अलाउ करने के लिए, उसको इंस्ट्रक्शन देने के लिए कुछ कोड लिखते हैं, और कोड लिखने के लिए अपन को कोई ना कोई मीडिएटर चाहिए। कंप्यूटर डायरेक्ट अपन से ट्रांसलेट नहीं कर सकता, टोक नहीं कर सकता, तो अपन कंप्यूटर को समझाने के लिए कुछ लाइन का कोड लिखते हैं जो कंप्यूटर समझ जाए। जैसे मेरे को मेरा नाम अजय टाइप करना है, कंप्यूटर अजय नहीं समझता, कंप्यूटर एंड इलेक्ट्रॉनिक मशीन वो जस्ट जीरो और वन में अंडरस्टैंड करता है। तो मैंने क्या किया, अजय का जीरो और वन निकाल लिया। ठीक है, जीरो वन, जब आपने बाइनरी नंबर्स देखे होंगे तो अपन जैसे वन को जीरो वन से रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं, टू को वन
यस।
जीरो से रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं, तो दैट बाइनरी पार्ट ओनली अंडरस्टैंड बाय कंप्यूटर। अपन
ओके
सोचते हैं कि अपन जो भी पढ़ रहे हैं ये फ्यूअर रिस्ट्रिक्शन ऑन अपनी स्क्रीन पे आ रहा है, तो ये कंप्यूटर भी अंग्रेजी में लिख रहा होगा। नो, यहाँ इसने जो रिजल्ट दिया है वो भी, इसके पास इमेज हो, इसके पास वीडियो हो, सबको किस में कन्वर्ट करके रखता है, मशीन लैंग्वेज में। तो उस प्रॉब्लम को, आपकी प्रॉब्लम है हिंदी में लिखी हुई, आपकी प्रॉब्लम है इंग्लिश में लिखी हुई, लेकिन कंप्यूटर उसको अंडरस्टैंड नहीं कर रहा है। सो देट वी जस्ट, अपन को एडिशन करना है, अपन ने कहीं पे भी लिख दिया एड और आगे 1+2+3, तो ऑटोमेटिकली कंप्यूटर को समझा दिया है कि एड कहीं पे भी लिखा हुआ है या सम कहीं पे भी लिखा है, उसका ऑटोमेटिकली मीन है कि आगे के जो नंबर है उसको क्या कर लेगा, वो सम कर लेगा। तो एक
जोड़
अप्रोच थी। ओके। तो उस अप्रोच को अपन किसमें लिख रहे हैं, प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेजेस में। तो प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज हैव बिग ब्रॉड सेंस। अपन पूरी थॉट प्रोसेस, कंप्यूटर आपका ऑन है, तो ऑन करने के लिए आपको पावर बटन प्रेस करना पड़ा, तो पावर बटन हैज इट्स प्रोग्रामिंग मीन्स इसके बैकग्राउंड में कुछ कोड है जो आपका मशीन क्या कर रही है, कंस्ट्रक्ट कर रही है, उसको इनपुट कर रही है, और दैट कोड आपको कंपाइल होकर आपके स्क्रीन पे आ रहा है। तो आपको ऐसे सॉफ्टवेयर बनाने हैं जो जल्दी से बन जाए, उसमें ज्यादा आपको कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी नहीं हो कि आपको ऐसे करो तो ऐसे करना है। तो आपने उन अप्रोचेस को किसमें की, स्टेप बाय स्टेप प्रोसेस में, और वही स्टेप बाय स्टेप प्रोसेस क्या कहलाती है, आपकी पैराडिज्म।
ओके।
ओके। और उसको अपन को रेगुलेट करना है। रेगुलेट मतलब अपने लाइफ में कुछ रूल बना लिए, ऐसा नहीं एक दिन बना लिए, आपने उनको प्रॉब्लम्स थी, लेकिन ऐसा नहीं है कि सर आप यहां तक ही कर सकते हो, इसके आगे आप जा ही नहीं सकते हो, तो वहां बाउंड्रीज रेस्ट्रिक्शंस, तो आपको ऐसा बनाना है, लेकिन कम से कम रेस्ट्रिक्शंस हो। आप कोशिश कीजिए कि आपका कंप्यूटर विदाउट विथ बाउंड्रीज ऑपरेट करे उसके। ऐसा नहीं है कि आपका रिजल्ट कुछ भी आपको आउटपुट दे, तो आपको रिजल्ट आपने कीबोर्ड से स्पेस क्लिक किया, आप तो स्पेस स्पेस क्रिएट होगा, ऐसा नहीं है कि वो कुछ और करेगा। और उसका तब भी यूज है जब आप कोई डॉक्यूमेंट ओपन कर रखे हो, तब स्पेस का कोई यूज है, अदरवाइज वो इस स्पेस को इंक्लूड नहीं करेगा। तो अपन क्या कर रहे हैं, ऐसा प्रोग्राम लिखना चाहते हैं वो कम से कम मेमोरी ले। अब यहाँ पे अपने इतना खोल रखा है, तो अपने जो जितनी भी टेब ओपन है, ये रैम, अपनी जितनी भी करंट एप्लीकेशन जो आपके सामने है, वो कहाँ रन होती है, आपकी रैम पे। और रैम क्या है, आपकी रनिंग एप्लीकेशन को कंटिन्यू रखता है। आप पावर बटन क्लिक करते हो तब से रैम यूज होना स्टार्ट हो जाती है। तो
हम्म।
अब वो भी फ्री होनी चाहिए, ऐसा नहीं आपका प्रोग्राम 4 GB का है और आपके पास रैम ही 2 GB है, सो दैट प्रॉब्लम ऑटोमेटिकली होकर। सो इन
यस।
सब प्रॉब्लम को अपन को रिड्यूस करना है, अपन को ऐसी प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज लिखनी है वो जल्दी से समझ में आए आपके। अब जैसे अभी अपन इंग्लिश में मैं लेक्चर कर रहा था, तो वो आपके लिए प्रॉब्लम है क्योंकि आप उसको इजीली नहीं अंडरस्टैंड करते, तो आपके पास रेस्ट्रिक्शंस है। लेकिन फिर भी आपको 10 मिनट आउट द बाउंड जाके आपको यह ऑप्शन दिया गया है कि आप इस सेशन को थोड़ा सा आप हिंदी में भी क्या कर सकते हो, सुन सकते हो। तो आपको थॉट वैसे ही रखने हैं कि बाकी यूजर्स, आपका प्रोग्राम आपके लिए नहीं है, आपकी प्रॉब्लम आप अपने लिए नहीं बना रहे हो, सबके लिए सोल्व करने के लिए आपने क्या किया है, आपने सॉल्यूशन किया, आपने प्रोग्रामिंग की। एनी अदर वन? ओके, आस्क अंकुश। हेलो अंकुश। नेक्स्ट, यस।
सर।
ओके अंकुश, बताइए।
हेलो।
हेलो।
गुड इवनिंग सर।
गुड इवनिंग, गुड इवनिंग अंकुश।
IAS Nirania.
हाँ हाँ।
I want to ask that why do we need oops?
We not need anything, we have options. When you want to play, so you have a playground, you have your home area, you have a other platform when we can play, but we play where that kind of environment suitable for me. So we need to program, we build a website, but our boundaries is only language, only one language you can have. When we have many approaches, many step by step approaches, someone is comfortable with iPhone, someone is comfortable with Windows phone, someone is comfortable with Android phone. So they criteria, they differences are just about that languages. iPhone uses Mac OS. Mac OS is written in some kind of other languages that easily understandable by that programmer. You, if develop an Android app, so you are an Android app developer, you have your own kind of languages. So oops also a language. Many users, many programmer use oops, many use C. There are many languages, they many use Python, many use JavaScript, many use, so there are kind of options. We have options of languages to put our thought in a program. उसके लिए अपन को पर्टिकुलर उसी लैंग्वेज की नीड है। आपको अगर इंग्लिश लाइक पर्सन आपके सामने है, तो आप ऐसा नहीं है हिंदी में बात करोगे उसको अंडरस्टैंड कर जाएगा, तो आपको किसकी सपोर्ट लेनी पड़ेगी, उसी लैंग्वेज की। सेम अगर आपको बिल्ड करना है कि आपको बड़ा सॉफ्टवेयर बिल्ड करना है, आपको छोटा सा करना है कि डिवाइस ड्राइवर बनाना है, तो आपको जस्ट सी से काम चल जाएगा। लेकिन आपके पास ऑब्जेक्ट इतने हैं, आप इतने फंक्शंस नहीं बना सकते, इतना कोड नहीं लिख सकते। आप चाहते हो कि उसको सम लेस कोड में अपन को क्या करना है, बाइंड करना है, तो अपन सी की बजाय अपन सी प्लस प्लस चूज कर लिए। अपन को और कम कोड में राइट करना है, देन अपन को पाइथन चूज कर लिया। तो अपने पास चॉइसेस है। पाइथन किसी ने लिखी है, वो मेनी यूजर्स के लिए, अगर उसको समझना है, उसको समझ के आ गया, तो वो क्या करेगा, उसमें प्रोग्रामिंग करेगा। ओके।